of you.
Hello and welcome to another beautiful episode of Softline. I'm Nancy Banigo, and with me today is the Eddie Young.
And I receive it, Nancy, and blow kisses for the
I
world.
catch the kisses. I catch the kisses.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being there. It's Softline on ADVN TV, and trust us, today won't be an exception. We're going to come your way with a topic very exciting and interesting, and I think you should listen, so just be there.
Yeah. So how have you been, Eddie?
So
Looking all glowing.
Oh, lovely,
Yeah,
lovey-dovey.
absolutely. You know, talking about lovey-dovey, I saw a video the other day of two babies. I think they're just, probably 2 years, but they were still babies. You know, the girl among them, the mother came to pick her from her classroom, the play class and all that. And before she left, she saw her mother and she was so excited to meet her mother. But before she went to her mother, she had to blow kisses to her boyfriend. A little boy beside her. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't, but I'm just imagining.
Exactly. And then, you know, when I see these videos like this, it's so loving. And then I like to go to the comment section. Because that's where the real gist is. You see people agreeing to the video, you see people disagreeing, bringing different views and perspectives to just an ordinary video. You understand? So somebody said, this one is the abroad, because this one, obviously this child had learned these things from her parents. In Africa here or in Nigeria here, we don't have such things. So you hardly see our babies behaving in this manner. You understand? So we begin to wonder, when we say we don't have things like this, you know, now Eddie, me and you, we know very well, we didn't grow up in such an environment where our parents will be a lovey-dovey and all that. So, but then, how do we give it to our children? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just waiting for you to land. Yeah. So, but you see, we have to change the mindset. We have to change the narrative. It's the love that matters, how you express it, and how you should express it. We got talking over the weekend, and someone was like, there's a limit. You know, we're talking about care, you know, like showing love, empathy. And then they said there is a limit. Yes, obviously, because you always have people who will misinterpret your actions. But it's, you see, for a child who grows within an environment where they make you understand that, okay, hugging, giving a peck is not, you know, it's not a crime. And then they let you know where it becomes a crime. They let you know where you can draw the boundaries. I think it's better, you know. But then remember, in our days, you dare not. But the directives have actually changed because, the world is evolving. Parents, everything, relationship-wise, everything is evolving. So I feel for those who are still talking about it like that back then, they need to come back,
but
catch up with
not
time.
Really back then though, because I also saw a friend who gave her son a hug during the internal sports games in my child's school, and I saw the reaction of the boy. It was strange to him. And so
if this is what you don't do at home and you're coming to do it, of course. So that's how you also know those who pretend.
I'm telling you.
Exactly. So the boy is like, what is she up to?
All right, so we should learn how to
do these things and make it part of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite sweet. You know, like I always say, my little daughter, she's just this lovey-dovey kind of. And she does it so much that sometimes I begin to like feel so uncomfortable with it.
I know you shouldn't. It builds their confidence.
Exactly.
A parent who bonds with the child, you know, like you show emotions by hugging, kissing, throwing compliments, making that child build his or her confidence.
Absolutely.
So like out there, nobody can say anything.
Anything,
even if she has, of course, you know, everybody, whether you're overly beautiful or somewhat, you know, you're God's creation, you're beautiful. So just let the child know, okay, this is your tiny leg, so that your friends won't even use it, I guess, you know, when they pick up on you. You've been telling her or him at home.
So it's not a new thing.
It's not a new thing. And you just let her understand that God created you beautifully well. Even with this, it's for a purpose.
Absolutely, Eddie, absolutely. Let's go on a very short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
into the heartbeat of the world, where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people they talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to Ona? Wetin be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we not dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first pay.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
Here's some exciting news. ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms on Avo TV app, ADBN channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Limex World TV app, ADBN TV. Get the latest news straight to your phone. Join our WhatsApp channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across our social media handles on X at ADBN_TV, Instagram at ADBN_TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV_NG, and keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
Welcome back and thanks for being there. So today we are shining the light on a growing concern that threatens the future of our young people, betting. Once seen as a harmless pastime has evolved into a multi-billion-dollar industry that's silently killing the dreams and aspirations of Nigerian youth. From the streets of Lagos to the campuses of our university, betting has become a pervasive and insidious force that is eroding the value and potentials of our next generation. But what's driving this phenomenon? What are the warning signs, and how can we intervene to save our youth from the clutches of this silent killer? So join us as we delve into the world of betting and its impact on Nigerian youth. We'll be taking the expert look, and we also have an expert in the house, Iboro Friday Akpan Otsu. He's an associate professor of personality and evolutionary social psychologist from the University of Uyo. He's also involved in social advocacy programs. He will be sharing personal stories and explore solutions to this growing problem. Let's work together to break the silence and give our youth the support they need to thrive. So, sir, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, doctor.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, we're talking betting. I would like to ask, what is it that drives people exactly into betting? Let's even start from there. Before we go into the definition.
No, okay.
No, let's. I just want to get
What
that
would
part.
drive
What
people?
actually drives people into betting?
Well, I think a very short answer to that first would be curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yes, curiosity. And you know that curiosity stems from the platform of idleness.
Okay.
Because if you are occupied and involved in certain things, then your mind will be fixed there. But when you are empty and you are not occupied by anything, your time is free, so you will be thinking of what can you engage in,
Yourself.
what can you spend your time with. This is why criminality comes in. This is why they say that an idle mind
The devil's
is
workshop.
the devil's workshop. So most times people get into betting because they are idle and they are curious, and how they are also desirous to survive, and they are looking at their own activities or a chance in their life that if they do one thing, it can lead to the other thing and it can be advantageous.
All right.
I didn't hear you mention betting being another source of income, or isn't it?
Yeah, of course, that is an underlying factor. Anybody who gets into betting is expecting.
So when she asked
exactly,
so that we have a wholesome and balanced
Yeah.
knowledge.
So now let's talk about betting.
Betting, what it is, so it could help us.
Yeah. So people get into betting because, like I said before, they are empty, they are curious, they are desirous, they are expectant of getting something in return.
Okay.
And especially now that the economy is biting, even the employed.
Yeah.
Sometimes the employees of organizations can also go into betting to augment their income because what they get is taken away by inflation. They can earn bags of money and cannot purchase anything from the money. In fact, the purchasing power has been reduced, and like an economist would say, everybody is now below the poverty line.
So what is this betting?
Betting is a probability game.
Okay.
Let me see, if I do this, will I have a chance to get that? If I do this, have a chance to get that. Okay, Chelsea is playing, for instance. Somebody can ask you, come and propose, like a scientist would make a hypothesis. Propose, how many goals will Chelsea score? How many goals would the other team score, for instance? So somebody can make an innocent guess, and depending on the vicissitudes of the games, the game can end up at 2-0 as he predicted, and he will say he was a wise man. But then in other situations he wouldn't have made. So it's just a guesswork. It's a chance game. It's a chance game. Let me say this in case it rhymes. If it doesn't rhyme, then I know that it doesn't rhyme. So betting is a kind of probability game that people say this is what will happen. It's just like proposing that in the next 10 years, Nigeria will create more states, for instance. But after 10 years, no state has been created. Then whatever money you put at stake, you will lose the game.
Okay.
Yes.
So as a social psychologist, what is the impact? Like, are you seeing it as something worth going into, or would you be discouraging one from engaging in?
Actually, it is something for us to ponder on.
Okay.
Personally, I think it is not something that should be encouraged on a large scale. If it is, for instance, used as a sport, a game for recreation, it can be acceptable. But when it is a source of income, when it is used as a source of income, or when it is used as a way of making a living, then it is injurious. Because in the first place, betting is an outcome of idleness, and it is in some cases, not in all cases. Like I told you, that there are people who work full time and can still go into betting. For some certain games, like excitement, like proposals that they feel for self-esteem, For instance, if it comes through, they will say, okay, this is what I propose, and it is right. So naturally, or generally, I would say that it is a sign of an ailing economy. Even though in most of the world, people shouldn't listen very carefully, a lot of people in foreign countries, you see a lot of casinos. In fact, a few years ago when I was in Australia, I had a friend I just met because we went for a conference. He said he wants to show me around. The first evening he took me out was to a casino. I've never seen that kind of structures, betting. Everybody is busy betting. Almost you would think that the whole economy depends on betting. So it depends on what the country is after. Like in Nigeria, government legalizes betting. You see, like this Bet Niger,
the sport betting,
all other kinds of betting. Government encourages it, and people go into it. And some people claim that they are making income, they are making life out of it. But generally, you can say to some extent, it also accommodates idle minds. Because apart from this kind of activities, most of them would even go into criminal activities that are more injurious than betting. But the point is that in the long run, people who bet may not be able to find an engaging occupation that can keep them. Because for people to strive, they must have patience. People who work, people who are farmers, people are engaged in any kind of work, they must have patience. And you see, in our economy, government is not doing very well, in the sense that they have to. If government has a grassroots organization that drives people into farming, you know that we can use farming as betting. Farming is a form of betting. Put this small thing on the ground, and next year see how it goes.
Now, the way you have painted or defined betting and gambling, one listening to you will think it is all rosy.
No,
because
it is rosy.
We've seen countries who are doing well with gambling and all that. We see gambling being done in large scale, where people make lots and lots of dollars doing these things. So one would say, okay, so why is it a problem in Nigeria?
I did not really say, I don't know how you understood me. I was trying to say that gambling, well, to some extent, is an acceptable activity. It's not criminal. It has not been criminalized. So it's acceptable. It's within the confines of the law. But then it has its own limitations because it is not all engaging. It is not all engaging. It is a game of chance. People can wake up and sleep. Does it need a skill? There is no particular skill you need in gambling, apart from thinking and guessing. So it doesn't.
That's a serious skill on its own, because it's not easy and guessing.
Okay, so now if it is like this now, so why is it a problem? Because we have seen it causing a lot of havoc among the youth, especially. Let's talk about Nigeria. You know, we've heard stories of people using their school fees. We've heard stories of people using hospital money to go gamble, you know, and at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. So is it that there's something that is being done differently in our part of the world, aside what is happening, what is obtainable outside? Because if people do it outside and they gain so much from it, they enjoy doing it, we're not seeing it having such negative impact over there, then how are we doing it here that is causing this commotion?
Well, I don't know. Is there a particular study that has singled out Nigeria or maybe an African country as suffering more of the effects of betting?
Yeah, I saw a research where it's a problem. They said that the statistics of people getting into betting, people lose everything.
That is peculiar about Africans or peculiar
well,
about
talking about
population?
peculiarity, I don't know of peculiarity, but the statistic is quite high, and then you begin to wonder, is there something wrong, or is there a way we are doing it wrongly in this part of the world?
As a researcher, I know that gambling has been a problem all over the world. They have not yet singled down or pinned a particular country down to say it is worse in this country. There could be studies like that. It's only when you are driven in that direction of research that you can discover that. But all I know is that gambling is a world problem. generally.
Okay, but before you come in, Eddie,
Yes.
since you have accepted it's a world problem, right?
Yes.
And it's a problem in Nigeria, right?
Of course,
okay,
of
so
course.
what
Nigeria
is
part of the world.
what is the problem of gambling in Nigeria?
The problem, there are so many issues about gambling.
Okay.
Sometimes a major problem is out of school. You have been hearing about out of school children. Not all of them are those who have not been provided for.
Okay.
Some of them are people who have been provided for. They are given money to pay for their school fees and so on, like you mentioned earlier, and they misappropriate the money, they misdirect the money to other areas. And you also see children also gamble about their lives. See, these days music is reigning in every direction. Everybody wants to be in music or a musician. Everybody wants to sing. You see what the social media is doing, the Facebook, the TikTok. See every child, what the women, the men are doing. They will have to show themselves in one kind of activity, display. Sometimes such activities become immoral, and these are behavioral components of gambling. They are just looking at how they would be appreciated if they were the other person they are thinking about. So that is an immoral aspect of it. So gambling has affected the population in many ways, religiously, morally, academically, and so on. Even family life has been disrupted by all these activities. So gambling has a strong impact. The regulatory bodies, yes, the government regulates. You know, government is also interested in getting money, revenue, just to get revenue. But we must be cautious how we weigh between moral behavior and economic gain and so on. So it is now left for parents. It is a joint activity for government to always rub minds with parents to know the kind of things that we allow our children to be engaged in.
Okay, so we've narrowed down the discussion to what we actually want to talk about, seeing it as a silent killer of the youth. So as a social a social professor, like in the area of socials, right? How do we see, what would you suggest to youths? You know, because we've established that gambling or betting is a risk-taking, it's a risk-taking. And in life, they say generally you must take risk if you need to, you know, make it in life. So if we want to go by that philosophy, so the youths are right, risking their lives, but the behavioral pattern of which they get themselves engaged in this thing is what we should question and talk about, and maybe try to proffer solutions, advice on how the youths could go about this, and why the youths. You know, if you look at the number of people, the population is more of the youth, especially in Nigeria. So I think it's your field as a social psychologist. What do you think could be the challenge?
It's been a challenge. It's been a challenge, and we have acknowledged that it's a challenge. One problem we have to understand about human affairs is what we understand as fundamental human rights. Sometimes these rights interfere with with social control. As long as these activities are not documented as criminal in behavior, people have a right to be engaged in them. Then, but the point is, at what point? You see, parental care, parental care, what we expose our children to early in life also influence what they become, although not totally. Because as the world goes on now, when you have been able to take your child through the nursery, schools and so on, immediately the child is 10, 11 and moves into the boarding house. You will only be a lucky parent if all that you suffered for the past 10 years has not been eroded. That is
by peer pressure.
Yes, by so many other kinds of influence. But I believe that the family is the strongest the strongest pillar that can influence children. If there are children that can be indoctrinated, let me use the word indoctrinated, although it's a negative word. Children can be made to believe that hard work is important. You know, gambling has nothing, no component of
exactly.
Children who have been indoctrinated. I remember when in primary school we were told there were certain things we were asked to recite. One of them I still remember in my primary 3 is that punctuality is the soul of business. A bad writer is a public menace and a waster of the time of others. There were so many things that we were reciting. So that makes us to believe that hard work is very, very essential and is good. So parents, children who come from this background, that parents encourage them through hard work, these kind of children will not have time for these certain kinds of gambling. I want to say that I don't know what government would do to make children to embrace agriculture, because that is the area that you can find hard work. When we were children, those were the areas we worked. Our parents showed us what to do in the morning, in the evening, in the night. But there are certain children who are up to 18 years now. They have been eating gari, but they don't know how it came about. They only saw it in the bucket. They will not know what are the processes, right from planting up to the processing of the cassava. They will not know. So such children, in fact, some would even say, have you ever seen me in the farm before? Don't send me that kind of activity. I will not be able to do it.
You know, from the stories you've just told now, I understand very well. You know, we don't have time, so we have to speed it. We have to speed it up a bit. You know, I love it so much, but we still have that problem because the average Nigerian loves quick money. We like quick money, and that is why we keep falling victim of Ponzi schemes. Because each time there's a Ponzi scheme in this country, people fall victim, no matter, even if 10 have happened and so many people lost their money. If it comes again, you will see multitude.
You can see that kind of scenario. If a petrol tanker fell here, people go to school, fire will burn them. Tomorrow, another tanker will fall.
People will still go. People will still go. So that is why I'm on. When does it, because if it's like this, then it becomes an addiction. So let's talk about the addiction, gambling addiction now. At what point do these people who do these things, because you know when something becomes an addiction, it becomes unhealthy.
You are dependent on it.
On it, exactly.
So it's like a kind of dependency.
So at what point does it become an addiction? Do you see somebody doing this thing and you know this person is in trouble?
Yes. It has been, because I've been in fact when I was a child, I used to see these elderly men and young people. How do they used to call those things? There's some form they will come and fill every morning and tick and tick and tick and tick and submit. Tomorrow they will come. That is still a form of betting.
Pool. Yeah, I remember that.
They will be playing pool. You see that somebody, the nearer you are to the goal, the psychology of it is that the nearer you are to the goal brings more motivation and encouragement that if you put more effort, you will win. And the programmers, just like what we have been told about gambling, they believe that the motivation is centered on how the game is arranged. There are some people who think that gambling, pulling, will not work out. I remember when I worked in Rivers State, there's always a kind of end of year events that they will do raffle draws. Will do raffle draws, which is also a form of gambling. And you see that most of these important prizes will be won by people who are in that organization or relation. So people will say that they have already arranged it using the organizational this thing, that there is no way you will win. That discourages people from participating. But at other points, people still believe that if I try, I have not won today, I will win tomorrow. I have not won tomorrow. So it's a big social problem. It has to be contained through education.
All right, so True Education, we'll be right back. Let's take a quick break. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Step into the heartbeat of the world where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
Now here's some exciting news. ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms on Avo TV app, ADBN channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Limex World TV app, ADBN TV. Get the latest news straight to your phone. Join our WhatsApp channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across our social media handles on X at ADBN_TV, Instagram at ADBN_TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV_NG, and keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
All right, thanks for being there. So we're still discussing gambling, and we have Professor Otu in the building. So let's take some tweets to see what people are talking about betting and gambling. This one is from MJ, and he says, betting may seem exciting, but it can lead to a dangerous cycle of losses, emotional strain, and damage to relationships. The short-term thrill often isn't worth the long-term consequences, making it crucial to step down and find healthier, more fulfilling activity. Okay, so we have this one from Ghostwriter, and he says, people that play bet are no different from people in abusive relationships. They keep hoping that things will change instead of quitting, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome, a positive one. All right, so we have this one from Doctor. He says, when you find yourself constantly having repeated problem with gambling behavior, it is a disorder. Gambling, betting can become a disorder quickly. Like all addictions, it will ruin you. You see, I wanted us to take this discussion to when does it become an addiction?
Injurious.
Yes.
Becomes injurious.
Exactly. So we have this last one here from Jeremiah. She said, I'm witnessing firsthand what a gambling addiction can do to a young man. Ran from home, owes everyone in the neighborhood, ruined his business, relationship and friendship. Those are one of the consequences of it.
Generally, like mentioned there, it leads to low self-esteem. You know, when people are failures in the community, after several episodes of betting and betting without winning, the person will fall back into depression and he will be anxious about himself and will not have a good sense of self-worth. And like we are talking about relationships, if there were people in marriage, and of course, most times it's the men that go into gambling in relationships like that. But other times you can also find women.
I was just waiting for you to land, so that I remind you that you know what a man can do. Women will soon dominate this field.
So when it is like that, the partner that is not in support will always complain. Obviously. And after some time, if this person has no opportunity to redeem himself, that is by winning, very soon he will fall into depression. And that will can lead into alcoholism, even get into drug abuse or drug use. And you see, with that, will begin to isolate himself. At certain times, it can lead to suicide after a lot of frustration. So it's a mental health issue. It's a very serious mental health issue that government has to pay attention to, and that government begins from the home, because it is from home that parents begin to govern. In fact, the foundation we give to our children, no matter what happens, no matter how they will change, that foundation will continue to be there.
I see you're big on that foundation, and it's a very good one. Yes. I asked this question earlier. At what point do we discover that it has become
addicted to
it, because they said betting, gambling is it's just like a game. You see some person saying, don't worry, I'm in charge, I know my limits. Like somebody said, I do not bet more than 200 naira. The maximum I have bet was I have dropped was 800 naira, so I am not in danger. I'm not in any form of danger or anything.
But there is no kind of behavior that cannot be that we can't be addicted to.
So at what point does it become an addiction?
To any form of, even if it is eating, even if it is reading. People are addicted to reading. You read and read, even when you are not having exams, you keep reading. Although it is a good mental exercise, there is no. I don't know whether there is at a particular point that reading is injurious, but people read through sensitization. So there is no form of behavior. There are some. In fact, our old women in the villages, some of them go to farm. If you ask them, stay back, you say, I cannot stay. I cannot stay. We used to have our parents in those days. They feel good, feel happy, seeing the plants, living. In fact, it's a good form of eco-psychology, which makes us to reconnect with the earth, which is a very good aspect of psychological functioning. But it is what I just taught my children in class before I came here.
Okay, the farming thing, going back to nature.
Not farming, eco-psychology. That is getting back to the roots.
Nature.
Yes, getting back to nature. I think a good economy, a sound economy, where a sound, not necessarily an economy that people will be employed after school, that is part of it, but an economy that people will be properly engaged. Okay. Before somebody thinks of gambling, it is the last resort. It is when somebody has not had any other thing to do. Although after doing these things, somebody that is earning good income can still say, okay, in my spare time, let me go and do this. That can be taken as sports and will not be frustrating, because even if he doesn't win or wins, he has something to fall back on. But the one that concentrates on this and sees it as the most important aspect of his life will definitely be depressed.
But doctor, you just said something, that people who wouldn't also know how to, know their limits, so they could have good money coming in, and then they now plunge this money into betting and they lose everything. Some have lost their job, their career, because take money from here and try to put it in there to get double. And then before you know it, they lose it. So when you say people who have what to do, they'll just do it and it will look as if they are doing it at their leisure. I think I disagree with you on that.
No, what I was talking about, that people who depend on gambling solely.
Okay.
There are people, there are people, those are the people, like I was talking about, curiosity. Those are the ones that are curious that, I'm earning 2 million naira in a month. And if I put this 2 million naira, I'll get another 2 million naira. That one is the actual component of gambling, not because he's poor, not because he's just being curious and desirous to getting more money every day. So it is a social problem. It's really a social problem.
I don't know if you have any story of someone who has overcome this gambling addiction.
Yes, severally. No particular person in mind now, but severally we've come across this through reading. People who get out of gambling addiction through psychoeducation, through other forms of intervention that people can really advise. In fact, something like counseling, people can get out of it. So
for our youth, at what point would we encourage them? Because we see some
encourage them to
either go in or desist from betting or give it a try.
Should we even encourage people?
Okay, so let's talk about it. Yeah, because how would you discourage someone, a young youth, who is agile and hoping, okay, maybe I want to go into business, and the best way to have enough capital to put back into my business is to bet, with the little I have. Maybe you have a little capital.
The large number of betting industries we have now.
So you want to take a chance on betting to have more money to plow back into your business. But along the line, he might go lose it. So at this point.
So you see, this betting, sometimes I look at betting as an insurance. It operates the same way insurance operates. You see, in insurance company, the whole of Uyo can insure their houses. And after 5 years, it's only one person's house that is burned. And the insurance will be paid. The person can get like 1 billion naira premium from the premium he paid. The people who see that believe that, to insure a house is very, very good. But it doesn't know that this 1 billion naira that is paid is only 0.0001% of all the premium that have been paid over the 5 years. So the insurance company is not losing. That is why sometimes this pet company,
so they are the ones cashing out.
Yes, they are the ones cashing out. They will take and take and take and take. Maybe after 1 year, they will make somebody make a very big win. That big win is like throwing some form of motivation into when people were trying to despair. Okay, so somebody said so somebody paid 250. Somebody won 250 million yesterday. So those people who were about to despair will now come back to the system. That winning is possible. So it is a business, and the regulators know how they are doing it. But I don't think, in as much as it is a registered business and it's legalized by government, I think we should also discourage our children and even the people that are engaged in this, who float these betting companies, if they had better things to do, I think they would not be engaged in that.
Okay. So I would like to ask, because you said it is legal, the government allows it.
Yes,
and all
it
that.
is.
So what's your take on this gambling regulation? Is there something you would like the government to
Yes, I would like government to review some of the areas that government still give licenses to people to bet. But government believes, like I was talking about, fundamental rights. If there is something that is not, if there is nothing that is really bad about it, government will not interfere in people's rights. Okay. And in fact, sometimes people can take government to court that they are interfering in their liberties. Well, but then government also has a right to regulate what they want to go on in their system. That government can do if government is willing and ready to provide for the people. Nigeria is a rich country. I don't think we have used our resources to the optimum for the upkeep of the youth. If government can employ, not all these throwing palliatives about, that is nothing. You see how people will go out to struggle for palliatives and this and that. Those things do not. If government is sincere with us and will invest. And these youths will find something meaningful doing. I don't think most of them who are into gambling will be out of gambling. Nigeria is rich. We should use our resources to salvage our children.
You know, the one president once said that Nigerian youths are lazy. You know, and this, so far, I don't want to agree with that. But from what we see, with the way youths get so involved in all this quick, rich things, it's, you know, it begins to look like we really do not want to work. We just want to have that quick money.
To some extent, we can agree that Nigerian youths are lazy. To the other, I mean, at the other extreme, we say that Nigerian leaders are lazy. Yes, because you see, let me give you an idea. Every government, every state, in fact, they are proposing 31 new states. I don't know how that would be. Every state is depending on handouts from Abuja. What will come from Abuja at the end of the month? What has government done in the states to use the money available to expand the economy of the state?
Okay.
To make sure that there is a sustainable map of development in the state for children to depend on year in, year out. So if government does that, if government takes it as a responsibility to invest, there is so much stealing. There is so much looting.
Before we go so much into politics, I know you were talking about reviewing some of the policies that has to do with gambling.
We have to plow back so much of the wastages into building the youth through industrial development, and that will reduce gambling among them.
Okay, I don't know if Eddie has more questions.
So it still goes back to the advice you could give, because I think we didn't really deal on that question. What should be the best advice to youths out there concerning their attitude towards betting?
Gambling.
Yeah.
Well, the best attitude, youths, our children, should be focused. They must be able to determine what they want to do by the time they are through with secondary school education. That is, are you going to go into entrepreneurship? What are you going to do? Let people not just go to school. Sometimes we ask our students, you are studying agricultural science. What do you want to do after graduation? I will find work now. I will find work now. You see, there is, yes, you will find work, but what other thing is behind your motivation to study agricultural science, for instance? So the educational aspirations of our children should be redirected. These children should be able to know what they want to be, so that they will be able to define what they want to do. When that definition is there, they will be able to manage their lives along the path that they have created, and not wait for them to be overtaken by ideas of gambling, because that comes as a result of frustration.
Okay.
So but you see, I think I have a very different view.
Yes, you
because
can.
One, betting or gambling is legalized, like we have established.
Yes.
A lot of people are also engaged in this thing. They are into it. That's another thing. And so you can't stop people, but you can actually let them know the limits to which they can get involved in. Yes. Because you won't completely discourage these people, but at least you can tell them, don't get carried away. You know, there should be a limit. Now, you put in 1,000 today, and you earned 800, 500. There's that tendency you would want to step up. So at least we should encourage.
What we are saying is that at least gambling should be operated at the pedestal of being a pastime, rather than
a full-time business.
Yes, a full-time. People can just play that. It's just like going to swim. It's just like going to do any kind of sport. But when it becomes something that people, I went somewhere last 2 weeks. During school hours, I saw a place that was created. It's a gambling place. I saw a young lady sit on the machine, tapping the machine, tapping the machine, tapping the machine. So I just asked, what is this machine for? He said, I'm just trying to see if I can make some money. Tapping on the machine and tapping. A girl of about maybe between 15 and 21. I wouldn't know the age. And that was during school. I think it's a girl that has finished secondary school already. So pressing one thing, pressing one thing, pressing one thing, I don't know what kind of machine it was. But a very huge machine like this. What gives her the motivation is that she has been winning at certain times, and she wants to engage her time to get something. So governments should also be able to, even though most times they say government, we talk about government, but I know that government is the highest law-making body in our society, but the family can also help to redirect the path of the children.
So before we round off, I would like to know if there's any myth around gambling I would want to debunk.
The myth that we have is that what I said at the beginning, that people believe that gambling, that some people are monitoring it from certain areas, that you cannot win, even no matter how much. That is one of the myths that I've been hearing about. So there are so many other kinds of myths. They say people who get into gambling are lazy. That there are so many kinds of myths that people believe about gambling, because already it has been seen negatively by most members of the society.
Yeah, probably we misuse it. You know, like where it has been fully regulated, properly directed. If there's a way to do it, it will not be seen as everybody doing it. Remember, underage children also go into this, and that's why we are trying to create this awareness. There should be an age limit for people who go into gambling and all that. I can't see a school child who is supposed to be in school being in a gambling house trying to win something.
Yes, another area is that you see, even the social media is creating an avenue for this addiction. You see, our youth, the phone addiction is another topic some other time. See, in TikTok, all kinds of areas that children are engaged in.
All right, thank you so much, Prof, for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much, too.
All right, so as we conclude, we'll leave you with a call to action. Let's work together to raise awareness about the risk of betting and provide support for those affected. Let's encourage our young people to pursue their passion and interest and to seek help when needed. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. From all of us in the studios, bye-bye, and thanks for watching.
Bye.